Hey, what's good, guys? Welcome back to another video. It's Yenzi here. This is part 2 of our interview with the incredible Masonwabe Ntloko. If you haven't checked out part 1, please do check it out over here. And I will leave the link to part 1 down in the description box below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, drop a like if you want to see more interviews from creators who are just doing their thing like Masonwabe is doing. Let's get into the video.
So this is what happened. Now I'm coming back to Joburg after school because I dropped out of school, but I went back, right? So like I said, school buys you time. So I was like, you know what? Let me go back to school and really figure this thing out. But I need to figure this thing out on Wi-Fi because when I was home, hey, Wi-Fi starter was too expensive. So went back to school, finished. Then after I finished, it was like, okay, no, let me look for a job. Because also I was under that impression of I would rather learn using someone else's money than using my own mind. That was my thing. Went to a few interviews, and one of the interviews. So the last interview, dude, we probably spoke for like 2 hours to 3 hours, right? You know, hands guy at the end. Now, obviously, I'm thinking, I got this. Me and this guy get along. This is the boss, the main guy. This is a design agency. I'm like, yeah, no, I got this. You know, like, you know, you're sitting there and you're like, as you're speaking, you're like, me and this person really, it's a clicking, yeah. So, this is mine. I'm getting this job. And then at the end, he goes, yo, you want me to tell you something? I go, yeah. He's like, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to hire you. And that's not because you're not good at what you do. You're very good at what you do. But where you are mentally and where you're trying to go, a company like mine or any other company I've seen in South Africa, it's not gonna, like, they're not gonna be able to nurture you until you reach like your fullest potential. So I would advise that you start your own thing. So I'm like, oh, okay. Now obviously you're confused because you're like, damn, bro, I've been here for 3 hours. So you basically wasted my time. Went home, designed my company logo, and then the following day called my tattoo artist. I was like, yo, I have this logo and I want to put it on my body. And did it. Then, you know, now it was like a thing of, okay, now I'm really committed to this thing. I would say a month later, 2 months later, I get my first client. Right. But crazy enough, I don't get it from a portfolio that I built. I get it from my Instagram account. Because at some point, my Instagram account, I used to do this thing where I used to like fly. And you know, there was a lot of things that I used to do on my Instagram. Like it was like one long story.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I get my first gig because of that. Not because of the portfolio I sent, because of that. Because this person looked through my Instagram. They're like, okay, this person is a creative being. This is who we want. My first client is Universal Music, right? So my first project for Universal was DJ Stoke. What was it? I'm a Piano Movement, Volume 1. Then my second one was Lady Zama.
Oh, wow.
Monarch. But before those, I had done stuff in the music industry. So I had art directed Shane Eagle's Yellow Tour. So everything you saw, Yellow Tour, even the Hype magazine cover was shot and designed by me. I had done some stuff with Castlelight in the past. So it's just, for a very long time, I thought my love for music and love for design were two separate things. You know? Then eventually, every time I tried to go, oh, this is this is that, life would hit me because it was trying to put me in this direction of this is what you should be doing. So eventually, you know, I was like, you know what, let me really just do this thing. Then from there, after doing the Zamar project, because I think the Zamar project opened a lot of doors for, you know, did that. Then obviously now I did a couple more things at Universal, but not on a. I've never worked for Universal because a lot of people think I've worked for Universal. I've never worked for Universal. We just had a relationship. So from that, I did Mafigizolo, I did TDK Makaset, I did. I never. Yeah, I did. No, but that's Sony. You know, that's last year. Simi is last year. From building that relationship, then I just started working with like other labels now. Because when you give a specific service and you're not exclusive to a certain label, more labels want your work. So build relationships with Sony, did some stuff for Solistic at some point, did stuff for Warner Music South Africa at some point, did stuff for Blue Note, the jazz label in the US. So that's how that really started, you know. So, and I'm not gonna lie, I had to figure it out as I went, you know. What I do now is I hire people as I need them, you know.
Okay.
So if I need this person, because now I've also realized I have a lot that's happening in my life right now, you know, which is something that I'm really grateful for. But because I have so much that's happening in my life, I can't do everything that I would like to do. So now, every now and again, I try get like people to, you know, do certain things. They were obviously still under the stable. I got into the industry as just a designer, you know. Then obviously you're not aware of things like art direction, creative direction. You're not aware of those things, just designing. Then over time, you just start seeing that, yo, I'm doing more than that now. I'm the one building this concept. After, okay, I'm building this concept. Now you also end up being, I'm going to say, the producer, because you're the one putting people together. You choose who you want on this project, how you want this person to, you know, you have all of those things. So because of that, I was like, you know what? I need to find like a way to build a proper structure. Because also I'm not doing this because, it's a cool thing to do. I'm trying to make sure that this becomes like a stable company eventually, you know, that can feed my family, you know, because we don't come from good families, some of us, you know, so you want to be able to have something that eventually doesn't need too much of your energy. Right now, I'm not as active as I was in the music industry, because also I'm picking and choosing projects I want to work on and trying to give all the projects the right time, the right, proper attention, because you don't just want to be doing things, you know. There's a standard at which I want my product to be at. And in order for it to be at that standard, I need to be very careful of how I do things, you know. And for real, like the business side of things, you literally just figure it out as you go. You know, I'm not even going to lie to you and say, I read this book. Nah, bro. I've had so many ideas of what this thing is, and shit, most of them didn't even work, you know, but over time, it starts making sense. I thought to myself, I was like, okay, there's two ways I can enter the industry. I can enter the industry using artists. So which means now I have to go talk to Ricky Rick, for example, or Ricky Rick's manager, or I can go to a label, right? When I go to a label has a roster of artists. So I can pick and choose who I want to work with if my relationship with that label is great. It's easy to hold the label liable than it is, you know, because even with them, it's a thing of there's emails in which you can track this thing. You sign your vendor forms, you submit your everything, you know, because there's a specific way in which they do things. So there's not really a chance that you won't get paid. You might get paid maybe in a month from now, sometimes in a week, you know. So it just differs with time. Now, obviously, I've had like instances where I've worked with independent artists, like some of the famous people who have not paid me, you know. But I'm also just not one of those people. Like for me, it's like, yo, if you don't want to, okay, you know. There's so much going on in my life right now. I understand where I'm trying to go. So now I'm not going to be dragging people on social media for not paying me, because things like that is someone can quickly spin that story, you know, and now it becomes a thing of, no, I told this person I was going to pay them. Yeah, well, or it becomes, hey, you can't work with this person because now people are scared of you because they think you will drag them if they are late for don't do it and don't. Yeah, but also for me, I was like, you know what? But like I said, it's not. I haven't really experienced a lot of that. You know, it's not like I sit here. I can't sit here and go, I wasn't paid by certain hand. Probably happened like once or twice. You know, but you just take it and keep it moving. Nothing's really personal, man.
You wanted to launch your own thing, right? So
Yeah.
the show that you had this past
Mm-hmm.
Sunday, you wrote that you wanted to do this and you wanted to do it for yourself. So I wanted to know,
Mm.
like, why, what drove you to that, and also like how have you been able to just create for yourself first without any other like influences, just you and you alone.
2019, 2020. Yeah, I really was doing work for other people. And for me, everything that I did before that, you know, I count, but I don't really count because it's like, that was the time when I was figuring things out. You know? So now it was like, okay, now I wouldn't even really say I was in the industry at that time, but now I can confidently say, yo, I'm in the industry, you know? So when I got into the industry, I did a lot because also this is the thing, right? Before you do something, you have an idea of this thing. You know, it's like, for example, before you did this interview, you had an idea of where this interview was going to go. But based on the conversations then it becomes a completely different thing outside of what you thought it would be.
Yeah.
That's basically what the industry was for me, because I had these cool ideas. I wanted to do these cool things. Nah, 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 nah. And then you just find out that, there's restrictions here. You know, this is as far as you can go. This is what you can do. This is, because for me, I'm like, I saw this, for example, I saw this Kanye West stage. That's what I want to design. And people are like, no, we just want artists to go perform at a club. And that's it. So that thing can get very frustrating and it can really take a toll on you as a person, especially if you're really passionate about what you do. So that happened to me where I was really it didn't sit well, man, that I couldn't do the things I wanted to do, how I wanted to do them, So after that, I was like, you know what? I need like a creative outlet. So that's how I started illustrating, actually, like taking illustration seriously. So that's what that was. So that illustrations was something I was doing for myself, where I didn't really care about, how people felt about my work at the time. Like, it was just like, you know what? Whenever I'm just not feeling right with whatever project I've been asked to do, I'm just gonna illustrate. That was basically the plan, came up with ideas of how this thing could be a thing. And one of them was, oh, how about I put art on a t-shirt? Because I'm not the biggest fan of art on walls. It's not that I'm not saying I'm never going to put out art on walls, but I've always wanted things that people can interact with, something that can be part of your life. Not something that's like a standby and don't know. It's just at the wall and on the wall and you forget about it. So this illustration thing growing is really just it's growing because, like I said, it's something that I was just doing for the sake of doing.
Creative
Like, you know what? Yeah. I'm not trying to curate this, I'm not trying to do this. I'm not trying to be cool about it. I'm just doing my thing. So when people just started catching on and loving it, I was like, oh, okay. Then I have these ideas. Okay, let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do this. But now, obviously, because there was a time where I was so busy with the music industry things, I didn't have, the time to do these things. So I had to really just sit down and be conscious about the fact that, you know what, if I really want to do this, I don't want to sit there and go, this would have been a great idea, because also ideas are not loyal, I'm grateful that this one was loyal enough to stand by me for the last 2 years, because have you never realized when you have an idea and then you don't do it, and then a year later, someone does exactly that thing, and you're like, that's what I wanted to do. So because of, I'm just grateful that it really stood by me, because any illustrator could have done what I did, There's nothing really that special outside of my work in what I did, putting an illustration on a t-shirt, you know. But now, obviously, with me, because I'm a very, like, I pay attention to detail, I you know, all of those things. So the product came out different, you know, where my concept was, oh, okay, these t-shirts and sweaters are basically going to be artworks, but now they're going to be artworks that are on clothing. You know, that's how we're going to treat them. We're going to treat them as artworks, which is why it was okay. We need to limit the number. Then after we limit the number, every one of them is going to say 1 of 30. You know, all those things. The name of the artist, where it was made. That was the idea.
Before I ask my last question, can I just do a little quick fire questions?
Okay.
So I'm going to ask this and you're going to answer as quick as possible, right? Okay, one app that you use every day to create.
To create Photoshop.
Chicken or beef? You said beef.
Beef.
Why not chicken?
I've had chicken for all my life, like most of my life. You know, growing up in a black home, if they say you were eating meat, it's chicken. So now that I have the luxury to choose what I want to eat, I'll probably just go for beef more than chicken.
Okay, craziest thing that you've ever done?
Dude, I've done a lot of crazy things, man. I think, craziest thing I've ever done was believe in myself. Yes. At that time, there wasn't even a reference of a successful artist, you know? So you want to do this thing and you know that you're going to do this thing. I just sit there and go, you know what? I'm going to make this thing make sense, even though I don't know how, but we're going to figure it out. One
drink that makes everything okay.
One drink that makes everything okay. Lemonade and passion fruit. But on a very, very, very good day, on a very, very good day, cream soda spalette. I have very childish taste buds, you know.
No, like I just really don't like cream soda and the red one. It's raspberry, I think.
Raspberry. Bro, like I said, everything you think a child would love, that's what I love. I don't have a mature taste, but I think that's one of the reasons why I don't even drink alcohol. Because like, why would I drink something that's better? I'm not crazy. Not crazy. Literally everything that doesn't taste sweet or taste meaty, I don't mess with it. Like spicy food, I don't understand. That's a form of self-hate. That thing is painful.
It's form of self-hate.
It's going to be painful at the back later on. Have you ever got after eating chicken, licking tutus, and then your bums are on fire? I'm not crazy, bro.
Form of self-hate.
It's a form of self-hate.
People who like spicy things would actually like kill you for saying that's a form of self-hate, because when they have a relationship with it.
Yeah, no, Chef. You know what it is, man. You know what it is. You know when you're pretending to love something. They are pretending to. That thing is not nice. Spicy food is not nice. That's them pretending. Spicy food is not nice. Let's not lie to each other now, guys. Spicy food, that thing, it's painful as you eat it, number one. It's painful as you eat it. Ne? Then your head starts being hot here. For me, my head just starts being hot here. Now all of a sudden you're sweating. So I just told myself, I was like, you know what? I don't hate myself. Because I love myself so much, I refuse to eat these things. So yeah, spicy food is a no-no for me.
Yeah. One quote that saved you.
Oh, I have a few. I don't have one.
Yeah, it's okay.
I have a few quotes that I live by. The first one is, there's a J. Cole song, Let Nas Down, where J. Cole says, I'm here for a greater purpose. I'm just the man of the people, not above but equal, you know? I think for me, that really leveled my head, because, you know, when things started making sense for me, I thought I was like the chosen one, and, you know, I was a special person, and you know how things can get in your head. But also it was only because for a very long time, no one believed in me. So now that people started seeing this thing, you know, but obviously I wasn't rude to people or anything, but just my mindset was a bit, you know. Another one, I have a podcast that I really love. It's called Hear Me Out by Wayno. He says, oh yeah, no one cares about you. The only person who probably cares about you is your mother. And if you're lucky, your father and some of your friends. But even them, when you die, they don't think about you for every single day of their lives. So I think that just made me go, you know what? Let me just do
Me.
yeah, let me just do what I want to do, how I want to do it. No one really cares, you know. And the third one was by my mom. This was, I think, the day before I went to varsity. My mom always used to say, like, she always says this. She's like, yo, ngesixhosa lazi ikhaya zazi busukaphi, you know. That was something that my mom used to say throughout when we're young, where, you know, when you're starting to ask for like random expensive things, and she just go, yo, you know very well that your mother can't afford this. You know? Respect that. It was the same as varsity, because my mom was like, yo, you're going to meet people going to come in with cars and tonton, you know? You can't compare yourself to those people. You can work towards giving, if you're ever going to have kids, your kids that privilege, one. Two, you can work towards having a better life. But no, be very realistic about where you are right now, you know, and don't live beyond your means. You know, for me, I live way under my means, you know. If anything, if ever there was an emergency, I think I'd be able to do what I have to do. Like, for example, I funded this thing, most of it, what I did Sunday, you know. So I think for me, those, I think, are the three quotes I live by. Yeah.
What's your one? The one that you like, something that you would like really leave with any person who's trying to create something and trying to just bring their ideas to life?
I think I'll say impossible is just a word. You know. Yeah, like that's also one of I don't know if I heard it somewhere. I don't think I did, but if I did, it's really just something that's always stuck with me. So I'm really one of those people who really believe anything's possible. Like, it's a crazy way of thinking, but for me, I really can sit here and go, you know what? That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. You know, in my head, it's just like, oh, it's just a matter of time, you know, like I just respect time enough to understand that I can't do everything at the same time. But I don't think none of our ideas are impossible. Like everything, dude, like you can do anything you want to do.
Yeah, we can just work towards whatever we want, pretty much.
Exactly. I just think people need to start understanding, like just being realistic about where they are, because a lot of people don't get to where they should be, not because they're not good at what they do, but because they're not realistic about where they are. So it's not easy to jump if you don't know where you're jumping from.
I always forget to ask people this, like, where can people find you, purchase your work, support you as a creator, all of that?
First and foremost, I have a website, www.Ntloko, MASONWABENTLOKO.com. See, if you go on that website and you go there at the bottom and you sign in for the newsletter, you will know the things that I'm doing when I'm doing them. That's where I send invitations, all of those things, you know, especially because it's COVID time. It only makes sense for me to communicate to a limited number of people. Number one, it's the most important thing. All the other social media platforms is literally my name, Masonwabe Ntloko, all together, on Instagram, on Twitter. I'm not that active on Twitter anymore, though. I've been considering getting rid of it, but I've been told not to. I always say this to people, I'm a proud hypocrite, right? When I say that, I'm trying to say I'm not married to my way of thinking. So what I say to you today, if tomorrow I know better, I'll act better, I'll do better, you know? So you can't crucify me for something I said when I was in high school, and you might find out that I don't stand for that anymore. You know, my problem with Twitter is that everyone's trying to find negatives in positive things, you know. So for example, with my story, there's someone one day who's just gonna actively tell themselves they're going to go through like my old Facebook and try to find something. That's something that people really want to do, you know. So, and with no motive, because you find out that I really did nothing to anyone. I was really just living my life trying to provide for my family. But but don't get me wrong. In no means am I saying someone who's raped someone or abused someone should be forgiven. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that sometimes you just find out that there's not much that a person has done, but people are so hell bent on breaking them down. You know?
Yeah.
People will discredit your work because it's a fashionable thing to do or say. You know, if you do something great and you put it out like on Twitter, someone is going to say something negative, you know. Someone is going to tell you how not good you know. So for me, it's not where I'm trying to
get you.